Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Amanda from Frugal Family Living. I know that I have not done a formal video to introduce you to the newest member of our family. This is Miss Emily. And she's finally sleeping. She's had a rough day. Let's see if I can get her face for you guys. That's a good view of her face. Miss Emily was born on October 22nd, 2019 at 11:25 in the morning, weighing 6 pounds, 2 ounces, and 19 3/4 inches long. And this by far was probably the worst. I wouldn't say the worst experience of my life, but I have been through hoops ever since she was born. Labor wasn't that bad. It was pretty fast. But 10 days after I had her, I ended up with pancreatitis, was admitted, went through hell and back, if I could say that. I had a horrible experience at the hospital. They tried to tell me I couldn't nurse her. They told me that she couldn't stay. Then they told me that my husband couldn't stay with me. It was bad. I live here in Florida. There is a state statute that does protect us as breastfeeding moms, and I threw that at them, and they kept telling me I couldn't have her. Needless to say, I ended up keeping her and I ended up nursing her, and they were giving me IV fluids, and the lactation specialist had already been up and said that any medicine that they were giving me was okay to nurse with. So it was just really bad. That's all I'm saying. So needless to say, they put in a consult for GI because they thought that my gallbladder was causing my pancreatitis, which indeed it turned out that that's what the problem was. But what had happened is they put in a consult for the GI doctor to come see me when I was admitted, and because the hospital did not want me there, because they didn't want the liability of my newborn baby being there, even though they have a ton of newborns there because that's where babies are born. Don't even get me started. But anyways, they canceled my GI consult and sent me home. So the day before my birthday, November 2nd, by the way. Okay, fine, I go home. I ended up with signs and symptoms of pancreatitis again. But I never went back to the hospital. I was in touch with my doctors. I ended up staying on a clear liquid diet at home because if you didn't know, gut rest and fluids is pretty much and pain medicine, because pancreatitis is very painful. Very painful. Besides gut rest and IV fluids, that's all they're going to do for me at the hospital. So I didn't want to go back, so I literally just drank water and Gatorade and as much as I possibly could all day, and for like 2 days straight. And then I started adding in little bits of food at a time, and I went back to the GI doctor. The GI doctor then ordered what they call an MRCP, which is basically an MRI of my gallbladder. Let's just say I never made it to my appointment with the imaging center to get my MRI because I ended up back in the emergency room in excruciating pain. So after that, they did a CT, then they did lab work, and of course my labs weren't that bad, so they were just gonna, it was the weekend, they were just gonna send me home and tell me to follow up with the GI doctor again. So needless to say, this was a different hospital, by the way. I did not go back to the same hospital because I did not want to go through what I went through the first time. So, needless to say, the very next morning, because my pain was getting worse, I didn't sleep. I felt like she was much fussier that night too, probably because whatever was making me in pain could probably be affecting my milk. I can't say that that's true, but that's what I could think of. So, needless to say, my mom came back over to take the kids, and me and my husband went back to the ER again. And the second time around, they did the lab work and the CT, and my liver enzymes had tripled from the morning before when I went the first morning to the ER. So, needless to say, they're like, you're getting admitted, you're not going nowhere. So, they get me upstairs, and I will tell you, this was a totally different experience. Of course, my mom brought her to me so that I could feed her. I pumped while she was gone. My mom did feed her a bottle while I was gone because I was in the ER, which everything worked out. And then once we got to the room where we could really control, making sure that there wasn't that many germs and everybody was washing their hands and whatnot, then my mom brought her up to the hospital. So I got admitted on a Sunday. Monday morning, they have a floor that's attached to like mother baby, and they have a pediatric section and everything. So they normally only have the floor open because it's supposed to be for women who have surgery and like Monday through Friday type thing. So it's not open on the weekend, or they didn't have enough patients to leave the unit open that weekend. So Monday morning, they transferred me downstairs. The nurse I had was awesome. She brought in a crib, because what I had Emily sleeping in was I had turned the stroller into a bassinet, because I have the stroller that turns into a bassinet. So I had just pushed the stroller into the bassinet up next to the bed, and I just had her sleeping in the bassinet. So anyways, they brought me a crib. They brought me diapers. They brought me wipes. They brought me everything you could imagine. There was a mini fridge in my room. I am an oversupplier. I was an oversupplier with my son. For those first few weeks, I tried not to pump so bad because I didn't want to make my oversupply worse than what it already was. So the benefits of having the fridge made me feel awesome, because at the other hospital, we were constantly having to put ice in the cooler and constantly having to make sure that the milk was cold and making sure somebody was coming to get the milk and taking it home and putting it in the fridge. And then when I got home, I could portion it all out and freeze it all. But it was, just say, like I said, that my first experience was bad, super bad. And I hope that nobody ever has to go through what I went through. By golly, it will be my mission for this hospital to change their policy, because like I said, nobody should ever be treated like I was. It was 8 hours of making me feel like I was in jail and I was this horrible person, and all because I wanted to keep my child and feed her and nurse her. Yep, that's all it boiled down to. Okay, sorry, getting off topic. Bad subject, because I could go on all day. I was so mad, and I'm still mad about it. But anyways, so this hospital, totally different. And then I got even more worried because she hadn't pooped in a couple days, and then it became that it was day 4 before she finally did poop. But then they even had the lactation specialist come in. They were making sure that I was doing okay. They brought me in the hospital grade pump. They brought me in the pumps for the hospital grade pump, because I had my Lancino pump. The hospital one was Medela. I do have a Medela pump at home too, so I was familiar with them. They brought me steam bags. They brought me Palmolive dish soap so that we could wash my pump parts. And then because I was in the hospital and I had all this stuff going on, I would put all the parts in the steam bag and the tech would take them to the microwave and go and microwave them for me and bring them back to me, so that my pump parts were steamed every day while I was in the hospital. It was, like I said, the best. Then, because I had pancreatitis again, which is what I was admitted with, they had to put me on NPO and only give me IV fluids again. Well, what was happening was, as I started getting worried, even though I'm an oversupplier, I saw a huge dip in my supply, and I was afraid that it would go too far and I wouldn't be able to get it back, because it was so many days of being NPO, and which means I couldn't have anything to drink or eat, like nothing, not even ice chips. So even before I had her, my normal amount of fluid that I drank in a day was almost a gallon. I calculated it out one day. Literally, the amount of the water bottle that I used, the amount of times that I was refilling it, I was drinking almost a gallon of fluid a day, if not more. So the IV fluids that they were giving me was not equaling my gallon a day. Do I contribute that my oversupply is probably from all that I drank? I don't know, to be honest. I just know I'm a thirsty person, I guess. I don't know. But anyways, as I started getting worried about it, and I didn't want to end up in the same predicament as I did with my son. My son he decided to quit nursing at 9 months because he basically was getting too many bottles, is what it boiled down to, I think. I had a hard time getting him to nurse to begin with. My breastfeeding relationship with him was super bad, so I ended up pumping a lot for him, and I really didn't want to do that this time around. I wanted to be able to nurse as much as possible. So I will say that it was great having all the lactation specialists come in. Like, literally whoever was on shift that day came and saw me at least once a day, and then a couple of them came back and to check on me. We were able to, they actually went to my doctor and was like, can we up her IV fluids, because she's not drinking and she's starting to lose her milk supply. They did. They facilitated all of it. All of a sudden, the nurse came in, she goes, we're going to up your fluids to 200, I think it was, instead of 125, I think it was. I'm not 100% sure, but I know this. They significantly upped them. And then the next time that I pumped, it was a little bit better, and then the time after that, it was even better. So I felt better, because even though I know what y'all are thinking, and I know what a lot of people are going to comment and say if they see this, they're going to say, well, just stop pumping because you have enough milk. Yes, but I ran into the predicament with my son where he wouldn't latch, and I actually started to lose my milk supply, I think, because of it. It was super hard to get it back, and he weaned himself at 9 months, and I had enough of a freezer stash to get me to, like, say, I think it was like 11 months. So at 11 months, or at 10 months, I ended up starting to switch him to formula, and I was doing half formula, half breast milk for every feeding, because I wanted that milk to last as much as it possibly could until he was a year old. So I did not want to end up in the same predicament with her. I would much rather have extra in the freezer when she turns a year old than to get down to the last 2 months and say I only have a month's worth of milk left. So I didn't want to be in that predicament, so that's what I was worried about. And I may totally be wrong, and I may have totally, like, I messed everything up, and now I'm going to have an oversupply forever. I'm fine with that. I'd rather have more than not enough. And I know there's so many people out there that don't have enough or barely make what their baby's eating. So I'm just going to be grateful for what I have, but I didn't want to lose what I already had. That's for sure. So needless to say, after 3 days of being, Sunday I couldn't have anything, Monday I couldn't have anything. Tuesday they took me down for what they call an ERCP, which is basically they're gonna try to go down and get gallstones that are stuck in my bile duct and try to get as many gallstones out as they could. Well, in that process, there was one stuck, which is what was causing my liver enzymes to go up, by the way. When they tried to get it unstuck, they actually tore my common bile duct and they had to put a stent in. So now I get to repeat an ERCP here in January next month to take the stent out. Has to have time to heal. So then I had to wait another whole day because my labs were still not the greatest the next day. So they wouldn't do the surgery to take out my gallbladder, which again was causing me all of this. So I had to wait another whole day. So then Thursday is when they finally took my gallbladder out. And I got to go home on Friday. And I will tell you, recovering from surgery with a newborn has taken a big toll on me. It's been very, very hard. And I just now am able to wear her like this in a pouch, which I couldn't do before because any pressure on my belly, anybody touching my belly, trying to nurse her and hold her to me, that hurt. Even before I had surgery, trying to nurse her was torture. The lactation specialist, I knew that I could lay on my side and nurse. I had done it with my son many times, but I totally forgot about it. And the lactation specialist came in there and she's like, what's wrong? I was like, it's just so uncomfortable for her to be laying across my belly with as much pain as I'm in. So she showed me, she goes, roll on your side and lay her on the bed and let her nurse on your side. Prop yourself up. Like I said, it was the most, nobody wants to be in the hospital, but it was the best experience I could have had being in a hospital. So, now she's doing much better. I can nurse her much better now. She will be 2 months on December 22nd. So maybe when you guys see this video, maybe not. I don't know exactly what day I'm going to post it yet, but on December 22nd, she'll be 2 months old. I think we're going on 9. I think she'll be exactly 9 weeks because there's an extra day in there or whatever. But I'm so blessed. If you didn't know, we didn't know what we were having. It was, I had a feeling it was a girl. My husband really wanted another boy, but he's okay. He's obviously okay. Healthy baby is what we both really wanted. He's kind of upset with me that I made him wait to find out what the sex of our baby was. My mom joked and called her Baby Jane for like a day because we didn't release the name until a day later. We hadn't finalized on what we really wanted it to be. Her name is Emily Rose, but it's spelled E-M-M-A-L-E-I-G-H. My middle name is Lee, and it's spelled that way. So that's how we came up with Emily. My husband liked Emma Rose. I didn't disagree with Emma Rose. I just still wanted her to have a different, somehow it'd be different. I didn't want something as common as Emma. So now she's got choices. She can be Emma. She can be Emily. We'll see what she chooses when she gets older. I have a 2-year-old son, obviously. His name is Braden Parker. So he can go by Brad, he could go by Parker, he could go by Braden. He has some options too. And that was one thing my mom really didn't give me. Amanda Lee. I guess I could go by Mandy, but I've never been a Mandy. I never even answered to a Mandy. So that just wasn't for me. But anyways, I wanted to introduce you to Emily. I know that this isn't the best time because she's sleeping. Maybe I'll be able to get some clips of her and put it in here of her awake and happy. But I wanted to share with you that we had a girl. Her name's Emily. And all the stuff I went through to get to this point. And hopefully you'll be seeing a lot more videos here in the future. Don't forget to like my video and if you like this content, and subscribe. I have a stepdaughter. Her name is Paige, and she has challenged me to the month of January. I'm not allowed to cook with anything other than my crock pot and my Instapot. We're allowed to warm stuff up in the microwave after it's been cooked, but I cannot use any other. Can't use my toaster oven, can't use the toaster, can't use the microwave, can't use the stove, can't use the oven. I can only use Instapot and the crock pot for a whole month. I'm kind of scared. I'm excited because I would love, I'm up for any challenge. And January will be a good month. We do live here in Florida, so it doesn't get very cold, but it's starting to cool off right now. So going into January, I think it'll be great because I could do definitely some soups in the crock pot and be super nice. But look forward to those videos coming and that challenge. I'll also have some product reviews coming. I have a Lancino brush pump review coming. If you go back on my channel, I did an unboxing of it. I used Medela with my son, so this was a totally different pump to me. So that video is coming out for you soon. Stay tuned. And like I said, again, please like and subscribe to my videos, and I will see you later.